Kristyn Clarke here from PopCultureMadness.com, and we are backstage at the Rock Allegiance Festival in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I am backstage with Keith from Buckcherry.
Hello.
Hi. So, to start off with you, what does it mean for you guys to play a festival like Rock Allegiance? I mean, obviously you guys have a lot of experience with that, and, is there anything in particular about this one that might stand out?
I mean, it's really fun to play with a bunch of bands that we've actually been on tour with before. The 3 Days Grace guys, the Seether guys, Blackstone Cherry. We're friends with the STP guys too. It's nice to come out and play with a bunch of different bands that you normally wouldn't get to play with on tour at the same time.
I can imagine. I'm sure it's like a big reunion, and it looks like all the bands have a lot of camaraderie between them, so I'm sure it leads to a lot of fun times.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun, catching up with guys, and some of these guys I haven't seen for a year or so it's been fun today.
Awesome. So, I mean, you guys via online have been giving us a lot of teasers about work on the new album and everything, and following the backstage or studio webisodes. So, what can we be expecting? Is there a target release date for this?
I mean, we're working that out right now. I wish I had the actual release date. We're still hoping to get it out by the end of the year, but if not, probably early next year. Just trying to tie up some loose ends behind the scenes that really don't have anything to do with the actual material that's on the record. So as soon as we know, we'll let the world know, and we will get on with it. But it hasn't stopped us from playing shows and doing what we love to do, which is play gigs.
So are you road testing any new material? You're kind of keeping that under wraps right now?
Right now we've been keeping it under wraps. We're going to wrap up this tour in a few days actually, and go home for a couple of weeks and revisit the stuff and go into rehearsals and just kind of tune up all that stuff. So when we head back out at the end of September, we'll be ready to play the entire record.
That's awesome. So, I mean, what I read was that, you're kind of taking a concept album approach with this, and it's going to tell a story, and there's possibly going to be a movie that's going to be attached to it. So what are some of the details with that?
Well, basically, it kind of started off as a concept record and then evolved away from that. So I wouldn't really call it a concept record right now. But it definitely has a theme to the record, and the record, Josh came up with it evolved into Josh writing a screenplay, basically, loosely based on some events in his life. So the story of the record goes with the film, and the film goes with the record, and they really work together. And, it tells a story.
That's awesome. Do you think that, in your opinion, it would probably be best listened to, like, as a whole package like that, to kind of get all the theme and everything? Or I'm sure that it could probably be listened to by itself, too.
Yeah, well, the whole idea was to basically make the record stand alone on its own and the film stand alone on its own, but they can both come together and work really well together. And same thing with the songs. There isn't anything on the record that it's like so weird that you wouldn't understand it unless you saw the movie. So the record really needs to stand on its own, like every other record we've made.
That's great. I mean, I think it's so cool, though, that you guys are taking that approach with it, because so anymore in the music industry, like, all we see are a whole bunch of singles, and nobody's really paying attention to whole albums anymore. People aren't looking at liner notes and album art and things like that, and I think that's a lost art. So
yeah, we really believe in making records, and there is a kind of a more modern approach to just making singles and putting them out there, but we come from, we're fans of bands that made records, and that's what we want to make, and that's where our passion lies, is to really get that body of work together. So we're going to continue to make records.
Awesome. And you had the song Wherever I Go on the Avengers soundtrack, and, what was it like to kind of be part of all the hoopla and whirlwind surrounding that film?
Well, we were in the process of writing the record, and when that opportunity came up, and so that song seemed to work really well, and Josh took the lyrics and kind of made them a little more specific to what they had in mind, and and then we hit the road, so we weren't actually able to go to the opening, so we didn't get to see the big premiere or anything like that. But yeah. But it's just cool. It was cool to be included.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that film's still getting hype, and it's been out of theaters for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
So. And you have some upcoming festivals. You're going to be in Japan and also Rock Vegas and Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, we basically we're a working band, and so really where we live is on the road. So yeah, Japan this year, the UK. There's some talk of getting to South America before the year's over. Definitely that show in Vegas is going to be great. Yeah. So there's a lot of festivals ahead for us.
That's awesome. They're always such fun, and it gives audiences such a variety of genres and bands, like all in one place. It's fantastic. Okay. So I did see online a little bit about you in designing a motorcycle. What's going on with that contest?
Well, Xavier, my drummer, and I have been motorcycle enthusiasts for a long time, and we've actually made some bikes in my garage. I was part of a promotion with Gibson. With a motorcycle company that was fan voting, basically, and if my guitar, the guitar that I represented, won the voting, then I would get to design a bike. I did not win, but I'm probably the only guy actually involved in the contest that actually makes motorcycles or works on them or whatever. I wouldn't call myself a motorcycle builder by any stretch. I mean, there's so many great builders out there, but I like to tinker around with that stuff.
Awesome. I'm sure that was definitely a lot of fun though, and to kind of put your other hobby in with music and that together. So it's definitely pretty cool.
Motorcycles is something that I'm passionate about, and something that I've been enjoying and doing for a long time. So I mean, it would have been nice if it would have worked out, but it didn't.
So, how would you say, Buckcherry has kind of kept it together all these years? I mean, you guys have withstood so many changes within the industry, and I mean, the way that we share music, the way that we get, how would you say that you guys have kept it fresh? I mean, it's been you and Josh since the very beginning.
Well, I mean, yeah, it has been Josh and I, but, this lineup that we've had together since 2005, this is, it's such an awesome band to be a part of, and I think that the overriding, the thing that drives the band is that we're about the music and we're about the camaraderie between the guys in the band. So that's really the thing that's kept the band together. The music's always the most important thing, and our relationships with each other are important. So a lot of the dysfunction that occurs, that has occurred in our band before, and we see in other bands, it just kind of doesn't really happen with us because, that it's something that's really important to us. It's really important for us to be a band.
Oh, that's good. I mean, that's the thing. It's, as long as you guys are happy with it and things at the, at the end of the day, that's, if you're enjoying it, that's what's most important.
Yeah.
So do you have a pivotal music moment that stands out for you that kind of made you say that this is what you want to do with your life?
I mean, there's been so many of those moments along the way, like the time I got my first drum kit, because I was a drummer before I was a guitar player. Writing my first song, all that stuff, there's just, at a certain point, I don't feel like I chose to do this. I kind of feel like it chose me, and it was just kind of what was going to happen. So even if I wasn't doing it professionally, if I had a day job, I'd probably still go home at night and make music, because it just kind of seems like that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So, I mean, I still really enjoy it. I love it. I love writing songs. I love playing shows.
Yeah, I was going to ask, if you weren't pursuing music, what do you think that you'd be doing instead?
Man, I don't know. It could go one way or the other. I could be a college professor, or I could be, dead. So somewhere in between was where I'd be.
That's great. Well, with the festivals, again, here in the States versus Europe, and I know you have several coming up overseas too, look at some of the major differences between the European festivals and the American festivals.
Well, I mean, the European audience tends to gravitate more towards your entire record. In the States, people are most familiar with the songs that have been on the radio. But in Europe, they get their music in a different way. At least, they're not bombarded by radio. They're really getting their music through the press. So they tend to go deeper, and you can go and play songs that never were on the radio in the States there, and people get it and understand it, and because they get into your entire catalog.
That's awesome. I mean, I've heard too, they don't take it for granted so much. I mean, like you were saying, there's not as much on the radio over there, and they only get one station that plays rock every few hours or something like that. So yeah, they definitely are paying more attention to the artist's overall message and things like that.
Well, I think the internet's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit. It's made everything a little bit more accessible. But I also know that when when you're an American band and you go to a foreign country, they get that it's not easy for you to get over there, and I think they really appreciate that.
So what's been one of the most memorable shows that you've played?
I mean, so many. We met James Brown at Woodstock '99, and that was really a highlight of, meeting the Godfather, a soul, was pretty cool. But there's been so many awesome shows, playing the Millennium New Year's Eve show with Aerosmith at the Osaka Dome in Japan was pretty great. The night that 15 finally went platinum, playing that show in New York was awesome.
That's great. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes out to speak with me. I'm sure the best place to keep up to date with all the latest news is the website. And are we going to see any more behind the scenes looks or?
Yeah, we have some more behind the scenes footage. We're pretty active on Twitter. If you just go to @Buckcherry, buckcherry.com, and obviously our Facebook page as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.